So when you are dealing with big projects, something like Airbnb Clone, right? You need to be very particular about when you are dealing with a big project like the Airbnb Clone, you need to be very particular about your file organizations and management, right? That is, you need to know that. I mean, you just don't junk up everything in one place. Like every file you are going to be using, you just don't junk it up into one place. And then that is when the idea of what packaging and the model comes in. When you talk about a model, a model is basically, let me not model, right? Oh, let me zoom in. Let me see. Okay. So when we talk about a model, right? This is a model, right? When we talk about a model is basically a Python, a file that contains Python scripts. So if you write any file, then you add .py. I mean, it's a what? It's a model. I mean, it when it does a particular task or it performs a certain task. Like let's say you wrote a function, right, in a file, or you wrote a script that goes on to carry on a particular task in a file. We can say that that file is what? It's a model. So let me illustrate this to you. Let me just kind of clear, and then let me um let me get rid of this everything if possible. Or let me just move them. These were the ones we were working on yesterday. But I'm going to illustrate to you, like I want to give you the structure of how the project is going to look like. That is why I need to move all of these things, right? Inside a directory, let me create a directory called notes, right? And then let me move all these files into notes, right? Okay, I think we are good to go. Okay, so see, um, let's just ignore that. Okay, see, let's say we have a file called, or let me create a directory, right? Let's say we have a directory called mass, okay? And then this directory here being mass, let me see. Okay, right? It's just a directory we've created, right? And now in that directory, let's say we want to use that directory to write functions that performs what mathematical operations. So now let's go into that directory. Okay, let's enter it and let's create a file called what? Addition, right? Addition.py. Okay. Now what I've done here is, right, I've created a file, right? It's a Python file called addition. See what I did? I first create a directory called what? Mass, and I created a file in it called what? Addition. So we can say that the addition.py is what? It's a model, right? Because I want to write it in such a way that it performs a particular what? Task, or it does something for me, right? So now let me define a function inside it. Let me call it add, right? And let me say, um, wait, okay, right. And let me say, right, this adds what? Two variables. Wait, why am I confusing C with Python? Guys, I'm confused. What am I doing? I want to create a function that adds to. Guys, is this right? Am I allowed to do this in Python? Someone confirm. Am I allowed to do this in Python? Hello, guys. Oh, moment. I think I didn't even put something here. Guys, a moment. PPS clear. I was working on something till I didn't push it. Sorry. Right. Okay. So, oh, I need responses. Am I allowed to do this in Python? Can I say def add return s plus y? I think someone was talking. Yeah, okay, okay. For methods, right? So I'm supposed to say s and then y. Does this solve the issue? Oh, okay. So what what I'm doing here is that, okay, I've written a function, okay, that basically what adds two numbers, okay. It adds two numbers, okay. Now, oh, let's see. Let's create another one, right? And let's call it subtraction.py. Let's create another one and call it subtraction.py, okay? And then let's say that one maybe subtracts two numbers, right? So let's define it and let's say subtract, okay. And then it takes what? It takes variable s and variable y. And then we do this and then return x minus y. Great. So what we've done is, okay, we have created two functions, right? That does a particular or performs a particular task for us. So the first function is what? Add the add function in what? In the add file, and then the second one is what? The subtract in what? In the subtract file. So see, we can say that addition.py is a what? It's a model, right? We can say it's a model because it's a Python file that accomplishes a task, right, or contains a function. So we can say that it is a model. Do we understand? Like basically, so see, now the problem comes in, okay, if you want to use this function in, let's say, in a file maybe called calculator, right? Calculator.py, okay. You want to use this function, right? All we have today is, okay, let me say, and let me declare this results, and then let me just say add. So we are adding what? We are adding maybe 5 and then what? And then 10, right? So as you can see, we wrote a function called what? Add in a file called addition dot what? Py, right? We wrote a file and then we said we wrote a function called what? Add, and then it's in what? Addition.py. Now we want to use it in another file called what? Calculator.py. So what we must do is, okay, we must import that function, or we must import that model, right? So what we can do is we can say import, and then we import that file. Oh no, let me not do that. Let's say from which file are we importing the model? From what? From addition, right? From addition, import what? Import add. Okay. Then we are able to use what? Our add function here. Okay. So what we are doing is, okay, we are importing a model. Basically. So it's just like when you're writing a C file and a C program, and then you say that what? You include a header file. And then you say that maybe something like include standard input and output dot h, right? And then you've included that file in your program, and now you're able to use functions in that file, right? That is what is basically happening here. So we have what? This is just like saying include a file called addition.py, and then what? And then we are using what? A function called add from that what? File, right? And then makes it possible for us to use it, right? So we go on and we do something like print results. Sorry about that. I'm explaining models first, and I'll come to packages, right? And we go on to do something like this, okay. And then let me add my bin Python. Oh, user bin, right? User bin Python 3 in this sources. All right, and then we get 15, right? So we're able to use the function that we created in a different file, and then we get what? 15. So what we can do is, okay, we've imported a model, and that model is called what? Addition.py. We've imported it in what? In our file called what? Calculator.py, right? So see something. Now, in working with big projects, you can't just be what? Dealing with just models, or let me say just files, right? You need something called packages, right? And now packages basically means what? A collection of models, right? Now packaging basically means a collection of models. So with a model being a Python file, when you create a directory, see the way I'm explaining this, when you create a directory and then you put Python models inside that directory becomes what? A package, right? So when you create a Python file and then the file accomplishes a certain purpose and then you put all of them, you collect all of them, or you organize all of them under one directory called what? Maybe like what I've done here, under one directory called what? Mass, right? So mass here becomes a package, right? And then addition.py and then subtraction.py becomes what? A model. That means that what? We can always, so when you try, like when you install packages, like or when you how do I say, import a model, you're able to use methods from that model, like how we did what in our console.py yesterday. Where is it? We're able to, when we imported CMD is a model. It means that it's a file that is having its own methods and then functions and then its own class, something like that, right? And then from that file, we imported a class called what? CMD, or we used a class called what? CMD. So it makes it possible for you to what? Import classes and then files, and then functions and the methods from what? From your model, right? So we have this package, right? This package called what? Mass.py. Okay, and then we have created what? A model in that package called what? Called addition.py, right? So now let's say we are in our directory, we are in what? We are in our Airbnb Clone repo now. So let's say we want to create a file here. We want to create a file here. Let's create a file and let's call it calculator, right? We want to create another calculator what? Model here, or another calculator file here. So now see, when you check the directory, you only have what? Mass, which is what? The package. And then you have what? Calculator.py, which is what? The file that we have what? We have created just now. So we can what? We can import the functions we wrote in this mass package inside our program and use it. Okay, so let me do this. User, right, bin Python 3. Okay, so what we can do is, okay, we can say that from the package. So let's say from the package, right? The package that we have, right? There is a model inside called what? There is a model. Let's just say there is a model. Okay. Now inside that model, I want you to import a function for me, right? Import a function. Something like that. That is the drill. So see, on line 3, we are saying that, okay, this code we are writing, okay, you want to use a certain function. That function is in a package called what? Mass. Mass is a package, remember, because it contains models. So we cannot say mass is a model, it's a package, right? And then that package is called what? Mass. So let's replace the package with what? With mass. Okay, now before that, let me try and want to use the function and let's see how it works. Let's see add, right? And then want to add 10, 10 and then what? And then 15, right? So see, so from the mass package, right? The package is mass, right? Now in the mass package, right? What are the list of models there? We have addition.py, we have calculator.py, and we have subtraction.py. So which model contains the add function? Now the model that contains the add function is what? Is addition, right? So this is the package is called mass, not math, right? So the model there is called what? Addition, right? Now what function are we importing, right? And then the name of that function, when we go to the how do I say, the model there is called what? Add. So we come back to our program and then we kind of just correct that, saying that what? Import add. And then it makes it possible for us to use this add function right from the package that we have created. If it was a class we had created, we could have be able to import it and then use it here, right? So you're able to create a package and then you import from what? That package. And that is the structure that you are supposed to have in your what? In your Airbnb clone. So see, when we run this program, okay, what is the issue? Oh, let me see. Let's do it again. Okay, so let's print the results for us to see if we're able to import our function successfully, right? And then we have 25, meaning that what? We're able to use our add function that we imported from what a different file. Now let's say we want to import what the subtract. Now the package name continues to be mass, but then the module name changes because the file is called subtraction.py, not addition.py. So we do subtraction. Okay, don't add a .py, right? Don't do that. Just write the name of the module, right? Without the extension. And now we import our function called what? Subtract, right? Which makes it possible for us to what? For us to use our subtract function here. So when you go here and then we do subtract, let's say subtract 2 from 10, we're supposed to give us 8. And then we run the script, we get what? We get our 8 here. So that is the ideology, that is the idea of what packages a model. So a package is a collection of a model, and then a model can contain a lot of things. And then, but I want you to understand that there is a convention. There is a convention that makes you tell the program that what this thing I've done here is a package, right? I mean, when you do it like this, it still works. I mean, most people don't even regard it. But for you to be able to tell the system that well, this is a package, right? This is not just any um it's not just any file, right? Or it's not just any directory, it's a package. You need to create what? Your construct should I say magic file? Yes, let's just call it magic file. And then you see something like this, init.py. I mean, you are very familiar with this, right? You create this at what? At the base of your what? Your package. So that the program recognizes it as what? As a package. You can leave it empty. You can do anything there, right? And then one thing special about this file is okay. Let me go there. CD into what? Our mass package. And then we have what? We have our magic file there, okay? One special thing about it is yesterday when I was explaining the if name some convention, right? This does a similar job. So when you go here, means you go to the root of your what? Of your package, and then you write maybe a script here. Let's say you write a script that says something like hello world, okay? And then this is you trying to say that whenever I call for my package, I want this script to run before it does anything else. So when you go back to what? To the our program we wrote, and then we try to run the script again, right? It prints hello world before it even goes on to do anything else, right? So that is, it works like just like the what I was explaining yesterday. So if there is anything you want to be done before the main program, or whenever someone uses your package, whenever someone wants to call for a function in your package, or you want to use a module in your package, right? You want something to be done or printed to the screen, or you want something to be done basically, you can write it in your magic file, just like how you're able to write a class, and then when you do anything there, everyone else just kind of, when you write a super class and then you instantiate that super class, it just kind of inherits it automatically, right? The constructor just kind of inherits automatically. So that is the idea behind what a model and what in a package. Before I move on, should I ask any question? I mean, concerning models and packages, any question? Okay. Yes, please go on and ask. Well, they're listening. Come again. Come again. Come again. I didn't get you. Mm, okay. So the convention I did there, okay, was that okay. The reason why you can't do from addition import add is because let me do a list for you to see. See, our calculator, right? Our calculator.py, which is the program. The current path is in. There is no model called addition, right? So that is why we have the relative path and then the absolute path, right? So see, addition is not a model here. So you cannot say from addition. If addition was a model here, if we had a model called addition in this current workspace, that is when you can say from addition, right? But since it is in what? It is in a package. So if you are importing a model from the same package, it's not relevant for you to tell the program that what this is the package I'm importing you from, right? But then if it is from what? If you are writing a program outside the package, then let the program know that what this is the package I'm importing a function from. Because from what you know, there can be 3 packages with what different function and with the same function names, right? But doing different things. So let me just go back to what I think I did this. Let me just go into the package and then let's use what? Let's try to import the model from what? From our package. So see what I did here. We had a calculator.py and then we did this. So see, I just imported, I said from addition. Because what? Because the model is in what? It's in the same path as the program I'm writing. So I don't need to say that what? From mass addition, import what? Import add. Then I can say this is what? This is an absolute path, right? An absolute path. That means wherever that the package is, I'm just getting it, right? But then since I am inside the package itself, I don't need to specify that what? I don't need to specify that this is where I'm getting the package from, right? I mean, you can do something like this, which I've not tried. I mean, it's just like the way files are, how do I say, files are structured in your what? In your, in your, let's say when you want to cd into, let's say, let me use this for example, right? Let's say if you want to enter into a directory called my projects here, right? There are 2 ways we can get there. Okay, there are 2 ways we can do it. We can use absolute path or relative path. Now, when we talk about the relative path, okay, I can just do the cd and then into what? My project. That is relative path. But see, cd, when I cd into my project, this command or this path is not going to work everywhere. It is not going to work everywhere. What do I mean? See, now let's say I am here and I want to cd into what? My project. It is going to tell me that no search for directory. It means that the path is relative. I'm not able to jump there from anywhere, right? But then if I do something like this, if I copy the whole what? Path, right? I copy the whole path. It becomes absolute. That means wherever that I am, as long as I provide the absolute path, it just sends me there. So even if I'm in a path, like let's say, even if I am at AirBnB console test that I wrote, and then I still run this what? This absolute path. It will still, oh, right, sorry. And I still cd into what? This absolute path. It will still send me there, right? It doesn't matter where I am. Even if I am at my projects, so absolute path is a way of you trying to say that what? It doesn't matter where I am, right? So absolute path is you trying to say that, okay, it doesn't matter where I am, just import this package called what? Mass. But if you're already under the package, if you're already working in the package, right, then there is no need for you to provide what? An absolute path, because the program already knows that what? This addition here is what? Is already a model in the current path you're working in, right? So you don't have to necessarily provide the whole absolute path than you saying that what? Mass addition. You don't have to necessarily do. So that's the difference between the two. So you cannot do this, right? Just like how I illustrated, you cannot just go and stand anywhere and say cd into projects, because this is the relative path. It will not work. They will give you that. They will tell you that model not found, right? So supposing we are outside the package and then we do something like this. We do something like this. We import the model. We didn't specify the package, right? We do not provide the absolute path. And then we go on to run this program, right? It gives us an error called no model what named addition, right? So that is some of the errors you are going to be encountering in your MBA if you don't take note and if you don't structure your files well, especially when you're using the test files, right? So make sure that what? If you are providing the relative path, then you are in what? Under the package working there. But if you are not, please specify the absolute path. Don't provide the relative path and then tell the program basically something like go and figure it out yourself, right? You are going to get an error. So that is the difference between the two. So best just, but yes, best is provide the absolute path. I mean, you may not know where your file will be ending up. So just provide the absolute path, right? So any question, any else question, we have to be fast about today. I'm not even done, right? Because I'm not even done with the debugging. So we have to be very fast. I want us to tackle almost everything I can before we move on to no, before you move on to tackling this, so that at least, so I mean, I think we may even last more than 2 hours. There is a lot, and I even have a bag I'm not even done solving. So can we move on? Is anyone having any question? That's why I'm trying to be fast. Any question? Let's 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 delete this calculator.py. But please, is your question answered? Is your answered question? Hello?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. So let's let's get into it. Let's get into it. Okay, so I want to show you the structure of your Airbnb clone, how it's supposed to be. I don't know how to show you the structure. So first, you are in your repository, right? You are going to be needing something like what models, right? That is where you are going to write all your model scripts, right? Your base model is going to be there. Your user model is going a lot of things. I mean, you is there, you figure it out, right? So let's have that. That's where we are going to work with. So let's create a file inside that called what? Base model.py, right? So the base model is like the supplier of all it's a supplier that's where we are going to inherit most of the things we need. Our ID, that's where we are going to get it from. Our time, that's where we are going to get it from. So it's just like a warehouse that we are creating. It's like the base of your codes, right? Everything you want, you just go and get it from there, basically, right? And I think you have another one, two here. You have another. So model here is a package, right? So since it's a package, let's initiate a magic file here and then so that you know that what it's a package, right? Sorry, it's .py, right? So inside the models too, there is another should I say that one too is a package? Yes. Yes, you can have packages in package. So yeah, let's call that one to a package. It's called engine, right? So it's a package, okay. And that package is let me use ls for you to see. So cd models, we have what? We have engine, right? And then we have the engine is basically where you are going to be storing your things. You see in it's like, how do I say, it's like your safe, right? That is where you are going to keep everything. You are going to save all your goods there. And then this is where the base, the model there is what? The base model is what? Is like the warehouse of what? Of that place. That is where you are going to get all your supplies, everything you need, right? So in that engine, okay, that is where you are going to have your file, your file storage, right? And then I explained file storage yesterday. I'll not get time to explain it again, right? So this is where your file storage is supposed to be. So let's cd into it and let's see if it's created. Let's clear. We have a lot to do today. So see, it's also a package. So remember to create your magic file .py, okay, to let it know that what it is a package, right? So that is it. That is basically the structure. You're supposed to have another directory too. That's where your test files are going to be, obviously. Right, so let's create that one and let's call that test. Okay, so these are where your test files are going to be. I mean, you are going to be provided with test files to be basing on them towards two. Wow, we're already done with 1 hour, 45 minutes. We need to be very fast about this. So the fact I'm saying that we need to be very fast doesn't mean I'm going to compromise of your understanding. If you have any question, just ask. If you are not able to complete, I mean, I don't think I have another section again. We will go and figure it out. And then I'm going to be very busy. That's why I'm trying to do this for everyone to benefit from it. Right? I mean, we started with JavaScript. I've not even done anything about it. So I'm going to be very extremely busy. we are dealing with the database of our project now. So I'm going to be extremely busy. So if anything, you ask it now so that after this meeting, maybe I may not get time to explain some things to you, right? So this is a base model, okay? Now the base model contains a super class where all of our classes are what they are going to inherit from, right? So this base model is going to be what? A super class, right? So let's do that, right? So what we've done is we've created a module, right? Called what? Base model, right? And then we create a super class called what? Called base model 2, right? Now this is a super class, okay? So this is where we are going to get all our supplies from. And then it is going to have attributes like, remember, we talked about ID, and it's going to have what? Daytime. So that whenever we create another class that inherits from it, that class can automatically inherit the ID. So let's say a class like user, right? The user can inherit what? The ID. So that whenever it is instantiated, that is whenever a user is created, they are going to be what? They are going to get a unique ID that identifies them, and they are going to get the time that they're able to create their account. Hopefully it makes sense along the way, but please pay attention. Let me do this. Okay, so we are going to be dealing with what? Our ID. So let's import our UID model, and then let's import our daytime model. Okay, right. So see, let's define how we want our class to be. With how your class is going to be, I said, don't worry, it is on what? It is on the page. They are going to tell you how you are going to define it. So I'm just going to follow that word to define it, right? So let me document this and say base model for what? What are we even going to use it for? For what? For creating and managing instances. Okay. So we are going to use this for creating and then for managing instances. And then instances, one of the instances I said earlier is what? It's called what? It's a class called user, right? So see, whenever this is a supermodel, don't forget. So you are going to inherit from it. So see, whenever you create another class or you create an instance of this class, you want something to be done. So let's define our constructor, right? Guys, that is the name, right? Constructor. Okay. So this constructor is what we are going to use to get what? We are going to define our attributes there, right? And we want it to be in such a way. Remember that when we printed hello world here, whenever you called for the package, it just kind of printed hello world. So if you have anything that whenever the class is called, you want to be done, you just define it here because they are the same thing in it, right? Basically, that way you cannot get it. So we will define our attributes here, right? So um, we are going to be working with args and then quacks, that is keyword arguments, okay? So I think I forgot my asterisk here, right? And then we'll be dealing with what? Keyword arguments. For now, our keyword arguments will not be used, right? So just ignore that for now. For now, our keyword argument is not going to be used, so we just ignore that. So we pass that as a parameter, and now we create the attributes, right? And then let's initialize. Or I think I'll stop the comments so that we can be very fast about it. So we want to initialize an instance of the base model. I'll stop the comments so that we have enough time, right? So first of all, the first attribute we want to create is what? This ID. It's very important, right? The first attribute we want to create is what? Is the ID. It's very important because every user must have an ID. Every class must have an ID we can use to keep track of it if you want. So what are we going to use for ID? We are going to use what? The UUID4, right? So, and then we'll convert it into a string. So first of all, let's access it. See, what I'm doing is what? This is basically the concept I was trying to explain now. It's like us trying to say the absolute part, right? So this package or this model, right? In this model, okay, there is what? There is a certain method there called what? UUID4, right? We want to use it, okay? And then we will convert it into a string. I explained yesterday why we need to convert our IDs into what? A string. Okay, but if you are here and you don't understand, just know that it is what? It is just good practice, right? And I want to be able to know the time the user created, right? The user created the account, or the time a review was made, right? Something like that. So we want to keep track of the time. So we are going to use what? The datetime model. I've imported it here. And I want to say that, okay, something like, I mean, they give a convention we are supposed to use. I'll do that. So we want to say datetime. And then remember I said that we want to get the time now. You use what? The now method, right? I explained that yesterday. So see, that's the name of that um variable is called what? Created at. Okay, I think that is what's on the page. Created at. Okay, so this is us trying to say that what? The time that the user created an account, or that object was created, right? Give it an attribute called what? Self created at. And then inside that attribute, place in it how do I say? The time, the current time. Okay. So whenever someone comes in and creates an account, we have the current time the person created it. That's why we have what? A variable called created at, and then we are storing what? We are storing the time in it now. So that is, for now, this is what you need to know. Okay. We have updated that. I mean, whenever, let me do that. See, whenever the user updates what? Updates the account or anything about the account, you are supposed to store it in what? In a variable called what? Updated, updated at, okay. And that one too, we use what? The datetime to get it, right? Okay. So this is what these, I think these are all the attributes you'll be using for now. Okay, if you are confused, you let me know, or you bring my attention to it, right? So we have our ID nicely created here. Okay. And then we have what? We have our UID here. No, we have our ID. Yes. And then we have the time the object was created, and we have the time it was updated at. Okay. So I mean, this is the basic structure that we can do now. Now see, we are going to be performing some methods on what? On our instances. Should I say that? Right. So we want our basic class should be able to what? Sorry, our base classes should be able to also inherit from that. So let's define that method. And then so we have a method like save that we are going to what? We are going to use to save the instance, right? And then we have a method called to date. That is, we are going to convert, or we are going to return a dictionary representation of all the instances. I'll explain to you why we are doing all of these things. And then we also have a method called what? I think string, right? That is going to convert everything into a string. I'll explain why we need to convert all of our instances into what? A string, right? So that is going to return the string representation of our instance. And then I think for now that is all, right? That is all. So let me just get into it. So let's start with the first one. Let's start with the first one to be what? To be date. That we are basically creating a method that returns the dictionary representation of an instance. So how you are going to go about that is your own codes and your flow. How are you going to achieve that at the end of what? Of the day, right? So let's try and see how. I mean, I'll use the one I did in my codes for you. Then you try and create one, but I'll explain it to you so that when you get to it, you can also what? Do your own thing. So see, the first thing we are going to do is, okay, we are going to create a copy of the instance attribute, right? We are going to create a copy of the instance attribute dictionary, right? And then there is a method we can use for that, right? There's a method we can use for that called what? Called the dict copy. So we have to say self, and then the dict, and then we kind of just copy. Think, is this right? Yes, it's a method. I'm supposed to pass it to it, right? So this is a method what copy we use to create a shallow copy of what of the dictionary what of an instance whenever it is created. We want to create a copy of it, and then we store it in what in a variable called what object dict, right? I will I will I will I will I will let us get back to our code, and then we will try and see how these things have an effect on the code we are writing, and then we will test everything here. That is why I said we have a lot to do today, right? So what I've done is okay. I am taking the dictionary representation of what a copy of the dictionary representation of what of our instance whenever it is what it is created, okay, and I'm storing it in what in a variable called what object dict, right? And I'm going to do another thing. Let's do this. I feel like this is very confused. I mean, some of you have already started panicking, right? So object, and then we have dict, right? That is the variable we give to it, right? And then we want to say something like, um, what do you want to say? Right. So the class will inherit from it. The guys,
Are
do
we
you
not
know
trying to
something?
return the entire?
Yes, the entire dictionary of it. All right. So see, we want to return the dictionary version of what? Of our class. So we have something like this. And then we store it. I think this one is supposed to be a name. I would eventually have to get back into my codes. Then, wow. Yes, yes. So this is the key, right? Since the dictionary, this is the key, right? Then we are saying that the key should be named what class. And the reason why we are doing that is okay. When we want to work with it in other models, okay, when we want to work with it in other models, so we are going to write something like our console. We would want to use class, right, in our console, and I want to be able to what? We want to be able to get the dictionary representation of our instance. So what you are going to say is that okay, the class name should be what? Should be the key. That way, whenever what we want to we access the class, we can get the value that continuous or comes with what? Comes with the class. I don't know if it makes sense, just like what our brother was trying to say. Something like that. So let's do this. Solve dict, right? If I make any mistake, then someone brings my attention to it. Oh, true. No, right? And then we say the name. Is it class or dict? Okay, let me see. If we account 10 here, we'll just work around it. Think, come again. Yes, wow. Yes, it should be class. Thank you very much, right? So we have, okay, thank you. All right, all right, thank you. So what we are doing is, if you are on line 17, what we are doing is, okay, we are returning the the class, right? First of all, what we did on line 16 is, okay, we created a copy of the dictionary of what? Of our class. And now we are trying to say that what? The key of that dictionary should be what? The class name, right? See, the key of the dictionary that we have copied into object dict, right? Into this variable called object dict, right? Every dictionary has a key and a value pair, right? Now the key of that what? Of that dictionary that we have just created, it should be what? The key should be called what? Class. What? And then how are we defining the key? We are saying that that key should just be what? Should be the name of the class that is what? That is being how do I say? That the name of the class that we are using to inherit from what? From the base model. Right? I mean that is what is just going on here. And then I think so thank you guys for reminding me. Then another thing we also want to do is okay. So we now have our class. Now I want to get created at, right? So see, now in this what? In this dictionary too, okay, this is what we are going to do. Follow very well. we are going to have, if I make any mistake, then you guys bring my attention to it again. I think this is good. Okay. Right. So we have another key called what? Created at. Is it? Is it created at? Yes. We have another key called what? Created at. And then what that one is going to contain is okay. It is going to contain the dictionary representation of um it is going to be our what? Our time. The time that we just kind of got from what? From initializing the instance of the model from here. The guys a moment. Right. So we have our key here called what? Created at. Now what is going to be our key for converting the our timestamp, right? And I think that one we need to, let me, self, that one is going to be what? Our time, right? And then our time is what? Is created at. So yes, it's going to be this. Let me copy it and then let me just kind of paste it here now. So it's going to be self created at, right? Okay, I think this works. And then we are just going to return the ISO format of what? Of the time. Don't worry, I'll come back and explain all of these things and then the impact they have on our code. Then, right. All right. So I think this is we are good to go. Let me explain. I think the updated was part, but it will waste time. So see, this is what we are doing, okay? We are converting the created at on line 18. We are converting this created at, right? This created at variable we created here, right? We are converting it, we are converting the timestamp that comes with it, right? Into an ISO format before including them in the dictionary, right? And then the reason why we are doing that is because it is the standard format for what? Is the standard format or the widely recognized, like globally, is the standard representation of what? Of date and time, right? And then it also makes what? Our time readable, okay? And it also ensures compatibility and then a lot of things like it even makes it what? Makes it easy for us to serialize it into what? Into our our JSON string. Yes, our JSON string. And then it also makes it easy for us to deserialize this from what? From our JSON file, right? So it's going to help us in what? In the loading operation, right? And it's also going to help us in the, what is the other one? The dumping, right? So we want to dump and then we reload, right? So it's going to help us in that. That's why we need to use what? The ISO format. Personally, I didn't even have any idea why we were doing it, right? You have to, because it's just on the what, on the intranet that do it that way. So if you're not someone who researches and then makes your research, you don't know why you're doing it, but you just be going on like a robot and then you just be doing whatever that they are asking you to do basically. So we are not done. So we need to convert it into what? Into a string too, right? I think we need to convert it to a string too because we want to make sure that what? It is readable, it is human readable, right? And then also we want to also make sure that when the object is printed out using the print function, right? Or when you are including it in our formatted strings, it makes it what? Easier for us to obtain the meaningful information, right? And also ensures consistency. So don't worry, I'll explain that one. I'll explain the reason why we are doing that one too. So that one too, there is a method called str. Come again. Hello, I can't hear you all. You're asking, is it the same thing as replacing string format time method? Yes, called a string format method. No, 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 it is not the same, okay? So, see, the string format method, we will use it. I'll explain how that one works. See, what this ISO format, okay, is doing is that even after converting it to ISO format, we will still use the string method on it. We will still use the string method on it because this ISO format does not even remove the nano the nanoseconds from it. It just makes it easier for what? Conversion purpose. And the fact that you'll be able to easily serialize it and then deserialize it. But it does not really affect the formatting you want to give it. So you would have to do something like this, and then you just string formatting and string format time, right? You just have to call for the function itself again, and then you format it the way you want, right? But that is for later. I don't think we even get time to do that. But it's there. You read it and then you understand, right? So now we want to convert our instances also into a string. I mean, the reason there are reasons why we are doing all of these things. If you don't do it that way, you're not going to get the achieve you're not going to achieve the result you want at the end of the day. And I'll make sure that we test it before we move on, because if you don't pay attention, you are going to just get a lot of errors, right? Because the requirements are a lot. So let's get the class name of the instance, and then let's store it in a variable called what class name, just like how we did here. We got a class name and store it in a key called what class. We want to this time want to store it in what, in a variable called class name, right? So how do we get what the class name of what the instance, using the same convention we used here, and then so after we've gotten the class name, we now want to convert the class name what? We want to convert the um we want to convert the format the class name we have gotten, okay? We want to convert it into a string, and then want to format it in a way, right? So we want to format it in a way, and then the format that you use it is it's on the intranet. You know it, but let me just type it for you to see. So the first thing is, okay, we are going to store the class name here, and we are going to store it like this. Most of these things you are doing is just for the serialization and then deserialization to make it easier and then what, readable. Even with this one, it wasn't really readable, but that is the best you can get out of it, right? And I want to store what, the ID, right? Also in this format. I think the ID is enclosed with what, with brackets, right? So this is just a placeholder, and this is the formatting we are giving to it. Aside that, the curly braces is just what, a placeholder. So this is where our ID will go, and this is the format that we are supposed to use for your ID. And then the last of it, the dictionary that you got, right? We will be returning the dictionary to now. So see, this is for the class name, this is for the ID, this is for the dictionary, right? So we have something like this, and then we will use what? We will use the formatting method to format it the way we want. Sorry, right? So which one goes first? Our class name, okay, and then which one comes next? Our self ID. I know that by this time some of you have already forgotten the ID, what the ID is, right? And then the next one that comes is what, is the dictionary representation, right? That we are going to return here, right? So the ID is basically what we've done here, the self ID, right? So I think the base model does a lot of things, but these are basic ones. That's what I want us to use it so that you understand what is going on. So I'll not. I think I should minimize the way I try to explain everything, right? Because I think I've explained it enough. So what this base model is, right? We are creating our instances in the world. We are managing it. For now, this should work as it's supposed to. Okay. So please don't just go on and do this. I mean, everyone has their own way of what, of getting things done, right? I mean, someone like online seven, someone would just want to do this, and then instead of just importing the UID, they can say that from UID import UUID4, right? And then it just works the same way, right? So you all have different ways of writing the code. You just need to get what, the understanding, and then what, you are good to go. So I think we have done what you are supposed to do in what, the base model for now. We have done everything that we are supposed to do in it. So we can test it to see if it is working like it's supposed to. How are you going to test it? We will just create an instance. So let's create an instance called user. Let's say the user is an instance, right? And then we say that the user um is obviously inheriting from our class here. That is what the base model. Okay, so now let's try and print the user's ID, and let's print the time the user created the date at, the time they updated it, and then let's see how it works, right? So we can print base model, no, that is the class, right? That is the class. and then we want to say what? No, let's just say user ID. We want to print the user's what? The user's um ID, right? I think this works fine. So this is us trying to instantiate. Yes, basically trying to create what? An object or an instance of what? Our class called what? User. I mean, you already know this. So let's print it and see if we get our desired what? ID. Oh, daytime has no attribute now. Okay, why? Oh, why doesn't daytime has an attribute called now? Oh, okay, sorry. I didn't import the daytime itself. This is very complicated. From daytime, import daytime. Yes, thank you very much. I even forgot about that. Daytime, with daytime, you have to import the daytime itself. It's a class, right? And then it has these attributes. We are importing this class called daytime from the model called what? Daytime. And then that daytime what? That daytime class has attributes called what now? So let's run our program again and let's see, right? So we have gotten what? The string representation of what? Of I guys. I'm tired already. We have gotten what? We have gotten the ID here, right? And then that means what? Our ID is working as it's supposed to. So when we create our base class, we're expecting it to inherit from what? Inherit the ID in a similar way. And unless we can check for what? We can check for the others. We can check for the methods. Think it will be very difficult for us to check for the methods. I don't know. You will create a test file for that. So let's ignore that for now. And let's check for what? Let's check for the created art and then what? Um, the updated art. I try to make the program, the one we are writing here, as simple as possible, but it's not simple. I mean, once you don't understand something, you just get lost along the way. Okay, so we have what? This is the time we created 15, 12, 49. Then, as you can see, the one who asked what is the ISO format the same as our string formatting time, and I said no. You can see this one still gives us the nanoseconds. It is not readable. So it's just for a convention. The ISO format is just for convention for us to be able to serialize and deserialize, but it does not make it what um it does not make it easier to read. Now we will do that here. Don't worry. I don't know if we even get time to do that here. You can create what? You can create a variable called what format and then you pass what? You pass the time format to it and then you just what? You just call for it here and you do something like this, right? Format basically. So because of time, as you can see, it just auto completed for me. Because of time, let's just maintain this machine readable what language. So for now, that is our base model for now. For now, any questions before we move on to the next? And any questions with this? Yeah, yeah, we can hear you. Please talk. Um, come again. Come again. Oh, well, I wanted you to ask the question again because I didn't really get you. But well, guys, am I still audible? Uh-huh. Come again. He was asking me. Oh, I can't hear you. Guys, please ask the question again. Line 16 and then 17. Line 16 and then line 17. Okay. So see, okay, okay. See, on line 16, we are creating a dictionary version of an instance. See, whenever an instance is created, just like what we've done here, right? just like what we've done here, this instance we've created, right? It has, should I say an attribute? Guys, what is the name? What is the name? Let me just say, okay, see, whenever you create it, okay, whenever you create the class, okay, we want to convert, we now want to send, or let's say we want to convert it into a dictionary, right? We want to convert what we have the instance we have created into what? Into a dictionary. And now in so doing, this subject, okay, it is like a convention that is saying that what? Whenever an instance is initialized, okay, the dictionary version of that instance, whenever an instance is initialized, you can get the dictionary of it, right? You can get a dictionary of it. The distance version, right? We now want to what? Create a copy of it, okay? And then after creating the copy of it, now that dictionary version we have, the key of that dictionary, right? Create a key. We are creating a key inside it called what? Called class, right? The dictionary we have now, there's no dictionary is a key value pair, and that class, right, is a key. And then the value I don't think we have done the value now. So we are creating what? We are creating a key, and then we are saying that that key is what? Is equal to the name of the class that was created on line 17, right? So it is just that you need to follow what is happening, and then you try to understand something like that, because just this line 17, right, is enough to confuse you for the whole program if you don't understand what is going on, right? Python makes things simple, Python makes things easy, but it also makes it kind of verbal that if you don't understand a single line of code, it just kind of confuses everything. So this copy method here, right, is us creating a copy of the instance we have created here. Don't worry. When I'll let us write a test file now for you to see how it is working. I will write a test file now to pass it inside, and then we will see how it is working. I think I should do that now before I even move on. So before that, we will create a user model, okay? A user model here called user.py. Since that is what we are using now. I mean, you do a lot, but for now, for me personally, that is what I'm using it. And I mean, yeah, you do it. For me personally, I'm just using user, but you have place, a lot of classes, right? So see, we have created a base class, right? Or a super class. Now let's try to create, sorry, let's create a base class that inherits from that super class. The super class is called what? Model, base model. Now we are creating what? A base class, right? That inherits from what? That super class. So let me go on to do this. You understand it very soon when we do that. User, I'll use that for that. I'll use the user class for the test file, Python. And then as I said, everything is literally done for you. But you have to understand what is going on, because all of these things I'm doing, they give you the instruction to just do it that way without giving much explanation why you're doing it that way, right? So see, let's import from base model, because, okay, let me not import before. So let's create a class, okay? Let's create a class that will inherit from what? That will inherit from our super class. So when we create this class, okay, now when we create this class, right, it is inheriting from what? Our base class called what? Base model. As what do I always say? Base class. As our super class called base model. But as you can see, there is an error here. There is a yellow wavy line because you have not imported that class, so you cannot use it. Okay, that is why I was explaining why you need what I was explaining what models and packages. So see, we now have to go into what? We now have to what? Go into that base model. So from base model, that is what? The name of what? Of the model. Import this what? Import this class. Sorry. Import this class called what? Called base model. Right. And as you can see, now we can say that our class is what? Inheriting from what? The super class. Right. So this is what? This is us creating an instance of, or a base class of what? Of our super class. Now it also has some attributes. When we say we are a class is inheriting from another class, okay, what that means is, okay, whatever attributes, right? whatever attribute and whatever method that we have done here in our super class, our base class can equally use it. As simple as that, it can equally use it, right? And it can also have its own attribute. And then in the Airbnb clone, it is having its own attributes like with things like email, right? Being an empty string. Okay. Oh, no. Yes, I think that was because that was the format they gave, so I wanted to get it that. Okay, right? It is an empty string. It does not contain anything, right? That this is, I mean, you can do something like this, right? But then you need to convert whatever that you have gotten into a string, okay? That is why I did. I don't know if other people did this like that, but personally I did. I did my own that like that, okay? And then you have password. This is like the profile, the user's profile, which is also what? Which is also a string, right? Oh, sorry. And then I mean it's a lot, right? Oh, we have we need the user's first name too, right? Which is also what? Which is also an empty string. Okay. And then we need the user's what? Last name, which is also what? Which is also a string. Okay. So see, if you want to get this what? If you want to get a class, if you want to get this class, okay, see, if you want to get this class and you want to be able to use this class in other models, now it is going to be hard for you in terms of assigning, reassigning, and there's something called optimization in what? In Python. Okay, I'll explain that one to see. When you're writing a Python script is what is very slow. It's known to be very slow. I mean, the best way if you want the best way to optimize your Python or the best trick to optimize your Python code for it to be very fast is just to use a different language, like maybe C. I mean, it may depend, but but what one trick you can use in what in the optimization is what we've done here. You will not know, but it is a trick. I mean, we don't want the fact that okay, whenever we call for an instance, that is when it has to how do I say it now has to go and import everything back again. No, 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 no. Whenever we create a dictionary and we put a dictionary in what wherever we import it in the base, it makes it very easy. Wherever you import it in what in any other model, it makes it very easy to still access it. And then I'll illustrate that. So for now, if you don't understand this, if you don't understand this, oh, where is it? If you don't understand why we need to represent it in a dictionary form, when I'm writing the code, I mean, you can do it without representing a dictionary form. That is cool, but you'd have to import, and a Python will now what? So when you import it, Python will now what to us? Whenever you run the script, you now go in and if you have thousand instances of it calling for it, it's now going to import again. It's now going to import it again. It's not going to know. But when you do this dictionary representation, you always have it. You don't need to do any importation again. So we will get into that. So see, this user, okay, it is what is inheriting from what our base model, right? So I'm going to use based on this user to write our test what our test file, right? I'm going to base on this what I'm going to base on this user to write our test file that is going to test if our base model is really working as supposed to. Is it returning the dictionary? Is it doing this? Is it doing that? Right? So see, so we are going to also write one for to check for the string. Is it returning the string representation? Is it doing what it's supposed to do? So right now, first of all, let's check for the string representation since that one is easier without me having to wrap my head around it a lot. So see, we'll first create a test file. Let's call it test. Let me create it somewhere here so that it makes it easy for you to know how to use the test file. The test file is us trying to check if our scripts, if our methods are working the way they are supposed to. So let me create a file. Let me create the file here. Oh, let me create a file here and then let me call it test.py. Okay, and now we have our file here called test.py. Now, in order for us to use everything, we need to first import. We can't just go on ahead and say that what we are just using it. But that let's create an instance before we see. So see, we have a user called user1. That's kind of what that is kind of an object of what of the class called what? User. Follow attentively what I'm doing. We have a user one. That is what? That is an object of what? The user. We are not able to use this user class yet because we have not imported it. So we will now say that what? For models. Is it for models? Yes. For models, okay. There is a model called what? There is a model called um user. Okay. Now import a class there, right? Import a class there called what? Called user. As simple as that. And we're able to use the class now. Now, see, what we've done is we have imported. Okay, so now we have what? We have our user here being an instance of what? Of our class here. And this class is also an instance of what? Of the super class. So we are trying to access everything in the super class from what? This instance that we have created. Okay, so what we can do is, okay, we can print and see the string form of user one. Okay, then the reason why we are doing that, let's just see. Oh, true. Okay, I need to start saying user bin Python 3. Sorry. Wow. No model named base model. Why? Um, why? I'm not even running the script from there. Import user. Guys, what is wrong with an importation? Oh yes, 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 yes. Let me see. Okay. Um. Oh, okay, okay, okay. So let's get to see, I'm trying to use this class. Okay, so now let's trace the error. I'm trying to use this class. Okay, I'm trying to use this class. So let's go into our class, and then we have from base model import what? Base model. We have imported it very well. So it's working as supposed to. Let's run the script and see if you get an error. Oh, right. We are not getting an error. So the error is not from here. So I think that is because we also have to import the base model here. Let me import the base model here and see. From base model. Oh, from model. If it does not work, we'll just carry the test file inside the base model. import, sorry, import the class called base model. Oh, that is not even the issue. Okay, guys, so we'll move the test file into, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move these test files into our models. That way we don't have to do absolute path models, base models. From models, you import user, and the user is here. Right. So let me just move the test file inside the base model. Move test.py. Oh, okay. Let me see. Wait, what did I do? What did I do? From models. Yes, we did models. We first went to the package and we went to what? We went to the model and then we imported what? We imported a class. User.class. Let me just move it there. Let's see. That is how I solved my errors with my script. When it's not working, I just kind of move it and then I place it there so that I don't have to do, how do I say, um so let me remove this from base model. This is not even needed, but let's just leave it there. From user, import user, and then let's print it. Okay, so hopefully that works. So relative importation is what worked for me to test my script. I think I have to look into it why we're having that error, but I had it a lot. So see, this is what? This is the user we have created. First, if you notice something, it has what? It has an ID, right? And the reason why it is having an ID is because we said that whenever an instance is created, whenever an object is created, it should what? It should have an attribute called what? an attribute that is what? An ID. So it has what? It has ID, right? So I'm explaining why how this code is working for you now to understand, right? And then it is having what? It is having created at. If you can see from here, created at, and it says daytime, it says 2024, 8 January. You see, we have not formatted it, so it's still giving the nanoseconds. Don't worry, we'll format it. And it has what? The self-updated at. So it means what? Uh, uh, um, initialization is working as supposed to. Now let's test our dictionary and what? Our string, so that you understand how it is what? It is working. This is how we are going to store our data in what? In our JSON file. So please take notes. So let's go back. I mean, things are about to get hectic, and then I don't want to move fast to confuse anyone because it's going to be very complicated from now onwards after we are done with the test. So see, let's go to our test file, and now let's try and see the dictionary representation. Okay. So how we are going to check for the dictionary representation is okay. We can create user. Um, let's just use the user one, right, as an instance, and then we will try to test for what? For the dictionary representation, right? So how are we even going to do that? Anyone remembers how we check for this time the dictionary representation? We can first of all we can do a lot, right? We can say that this is the one. Okay, no, let me just create dict representation. Sorry, dict rep, right? And I'm going to say that is what? That is the dictionary representation of what? Of user one. Okay, and now we are going to pass the let me see we are going to pass the to method to it to see if it works, right? Now we pass to method to it. Think this is it. So see, we are passing the method to our object, and then we are storing it in a variable called dict, right? So it means if the method works fine, when we print dict rep, it's supposed to what? It's supposed to give us the dictionary representation, right? I think this should work, yes, basically. Okay, so let's run our script again. Oh, it says none, right? There is no dictionary representation, really. Why? Let me see. I think some return it. Wow, wow. So how do we return it? Please help us. Okay, so let's return our object that. Great, great. Wow, that is actually great. Right, so that whenever you call for the method, it returns everything we have gotten so far. Wow, yes. Thank you very much for that. Now let's run, and then it actually works. Right. So so in order for you to see the difference, let me comment one out. Let me comment this out. I mean, is it even working? Sorry, let me just delete it. I mean, we don't even have a use for it. Okay, so as you can see, it has returned the dictionary representation. See how we're saying that it should be stored. See, the way we're saying that it should be stored, that is how it has been stored, right? So see, forget about ID here, forget about this, and let's jump right to what? To our class here. What is happening is that, okay, it is doing that, I think it's inversely. The way it is doing, you see, we said this, right? This name should bear the name of our class. So if you check this line, it says class, and it gives you what? The name of the class. What is the name of the class? The name of the class we are using it inside is what? Is user, right? This is the class. The name of the class it is inheriting from. If it was inheriting from what? If it was an object we created from what? From base model. Base model. And then we go on to do this again. It is going to change the name to what? To base model. As simple as that, because we wrote a certain condition here that is what we want. We want it. I don't know if it is making sense now. So we created a copy of the dictionary. We placed it in what? In our object dict, and then we just kind of assigned a key that the key name should be what? I mean, with the value, the key name should be that, right? And then we said what? Line 18 to the created art should give you what? The created art in what? In ISO format. And that is what we have here. Where is created art? Created art is here. And then we have what? We have the dictionary representation. I mean, I didn't do a lot of things, but well, the ID and then the ID and then the self-updated art and everything. I mean, you guys should figure it out from the from the intranet. Great. So this, I think, the reason why I do a lot of and then is okay. I don't want to miss anything, so my brain is actually occupied with a lot of information. I don't know which one to process at at when I'm supposed to process it. Right, so this works fine. As we return the string version, this one we return the string. Let's try it and see. Let's test if it is returning it and see. So let's say string rep. Oh, I'm not okay. Either way, it will work. We say user1, and then you call for our method what? String. Why is our method not showing here? By that way, let's just try to what? Let's just try to access it here. Guys, why is our method not showing? Oh, yes, thank you. All right, so it was confused that maybe I didn't do something right. Okay, so thank you very much about that. Wow, it's nice having you all around. Thank you, guys. Let's print the string rep, and now let's comment this out, and let's see, right, if that one is also working as it's supposed to. Okay, so yes, as you can see, it is working as it's supposed to. We have the string representation. How did we format it? We said now, see with the dictionary, it was not formatted, it was just randomized. So here we said the class name should come first. Okay, the class name has come first. And now we say the ID should come next, and now the ID has what come next. All the format we wanted it to be, that's the same format it is carrying, right? And then we say what? The dictionary should what? Now return. So this is where we're returning the dictionary, right? This is where I was returning a dictionary as part of the formatting, right? So, wow, that's great. Okay. So this is the formatting they asked you to do. I don't know why they asked you to do like that, but that's how they said you should do. So please do it. So, it is working as it is what it's supposed to. So with wow, we have a long way to go. So even with this, we are not done. Okay, we have created a base model where we are going to get what classes from. I mean, we are supposed to do a lot of things. We're supposed to create a save method that will save yeah, you get me, right? That will save our instances. Oh, yes. But before I move on to that, and then before I organize my thought process, are there any questions? Are there any questions from the test you have written now? This is how you are going to test for your code. This is what they will give you. They'll give you a similar thing that you use to test in your tax 3, and then you figure it out. Right? You always figure it out. So any questions? Any questions? Can we move on? All right. So let me do something. In our base model, we are supposed to do something, okay? In our base model, we are supposed to create a save. We're supposed to create a save. I've forgotten. No, I can't access my internet from now too. We're supposed to create a save. We're supposed. Okay, so we are done with this. Where do we move on next? Okay, so see, we can go on to just try and see if it is our base model is working. Right. So let's go to our console. Let's go to our console. No, before you go to our console, we need a file storage. Where are we going to store our JSON file? Right? Where are you going to store it? And then um where are we? So we will have a method. We will create what is the name? We will create a class called file storage that kind of says serializes and then loads our data. So after that, we will now use the create command. Which one should let's do the file storage first. Right. So see, now we are done with what this logic helps us what convert everything into a dictionary and blah blah blah. Now let me illustrate something to you. So see, we will create what? a model called in our engine called file storage. Oh, we've done that. Wow, great. Now let's access it. Let's access this model and let's implement the logic there, how it's working. Oh, I created it as a directory. My bad. Let me get there and then maybe cause the changes there. Right. CD engine. Clear. Oh, how do I even change it to a file? So that means change it to a directory. Let me just remove it. Let me create it again. Right. And now let's create the file called what? File storage. Right. .py. That is also another model. Another model we are going to be working with. Okay. Now let me see. Let's get this straight. Let's create user.bin. Or maybe I'm too early with the file storage. But as long as I'm able to explain everything, you get it. Now we want to write codes, right? We want to write a logic that kind of just saves our data into a JSON file. Okay. And I've explained how the file storage is going to work in our previous sections. So let's just go on to what? Let's just go on and then make use of it. Okay. So let's create a class that obviously this one does not inherit from what? From our base model, because we don't know why we need our file storage to have an ID and everything, right? So we have a class called what? File storage, right? And then now what this file is doing is we are going to implement a logic, just like how we did yesterday, but we are doing it in a form of what? It's more complicated and then more effective than what we did yesterday. Yesterday's one was very simple. We just loaded and then blah blah what have you. So see, first of all, I want to confuse you. So let's get into it and then you notice something along the way. Okay. And then so that you're able to learn from it. See, whenever this class is called, whenever this class is called, it should have an attribute called what? File path. Now, what is file path? File path is what? It's a file we are going to store the what? The data inside, right? And then how we are going to do that is, okay, see, this is how we, remember, this is how we create the file in yesterday. File underscore JSON. That's how we created our file yesterday. Sorry, file.json. Sorry about that. So this is the path we'll be using for our JSON file. Now let's go on and implement the logic. See, we'll create a saving what logic. That is to say that we want to save our data. So there's a method that just kind of will save the data, and then it's going to be very simple, like how we did what? How we did um how we did yesterday's. Oh yes, so thank you about that. So serialized object, right? The object that we have serialized, right? Let's say for instance, what object have we serialized? Let's say user. Should we say user? Yeah, we can say user, right? So this is the name I've gotten for it, okay? And then what we want to do is, okay, we want to say that it is what? It is an empty dictionary, and that is where we are going to what? We are going to store everything, just like how we did yesterday. We created the user data and then we said what is an empty dictionary, right? Then we are going to store the object that we serialize into what? Into this variable. So take note of that. For now, we are not going to use it, but along the way, we are going to what? We are going to use it. Now, the dictionary that we are getting, remember we are getting a dictionary. Do you remember we are getting a dictionary? Now, the dictionary that we are getting, we need to what? We need to, how do I say, is it um we need to serialize the dictionary, but there is already we need to iterate through. Yes, so we need to iterate through using the what? Using the key, and then I mean any, let's just say, yes, the key and then what? The object, right? I mean we already know the key. Remember the key to be what? Remember the key to be, is it, what did we use for the key? Class, right? We use the class for the key, right? So we want to say that from this from key and object in what? In self object, wait, is this self objects, right? And then we want to say that what objects item. Do you have any objects now? We will pass the dictionary along with with our seed method, and then come again. See, when we are done, yeah, I think I get you. I think I get what you are trying to say. Okay, so see, let me explain something. See, the serialized object we are having here, okay, is like us trying to say that, okay, um, the object, the dictionary we get, okay, the object we get in the form of a dictionary, we now want to go on and then what? Pack it as a key to this our serialized object. So we are going to be using this serialized object. We have not gotten the dictionary now, right? So this one here is where we will pass the dictionary. Yes, and that's where we are going to pass the dictionary that we will be getting. So we've not gotten the serialized object yet, but we are going to be putting it inside as what? As the serialized object we have now, basically. So let's say when we serialize our data, okay, and then we call for the date method on the instance, right? We obtain a dictionary representation of that instance because we said that whenever it is initiated, it should what? It should return what? A dictionary what? Representation here. And so after that, we use that what? Then we add that dictionary as well into our serialized object, right? With the instance key as the key in the serialized object, right? So we are going to pass the instance we get, the key, right, into our serialized object to assert as the key. That way they can move along together like the optimization I was talking about. Let's say, see, we have our classes here. Let's define our classes to be a dictionary, okay? And then what is going to happen is that, okay, these are classes. They are just going to be a dictionary representation of the classes we have. So how many classes we have? We have base model. We have base model. Okay, so this one is not what our class. I just created it here, right? And then we have another class. So I mean, these are the classes you'd be expecting. We have one also called what? Called user, right? Did we say it is capital or small? It's capital. The class is capital, right? And then we have this called user. Now, the optimization I was explaining was that, okay, before we even come to the save, then I'll try and make sense out of what I'm trying to do here. See, we now want to say that, okay, the base model that we got, we are now importing it, right? And then we are making it serve as what? As a value, right? So we can go on to say something like this without a string, base model, right? And then we'll have an error here, definitely, of course, right? And now we go on to say that, okay, the user class should now be this. I don't know if you get the idea. So that it makes it easy for us to be able to use this in our codes without having to always, after whenever we need to use it, then we are importing. It makes it easier. So whenever we access this base model, it knows that what we are referring to what the class we imported. So now let's import our class. From base model, there is from the base model, there is a model called from the base model package. There is a model called what? There is a model called wait, from the base model import. If it's wrong, then I'll just do it again. Import base model. Okay, right, yeah, that works because they're in the same package. I forgot. So let's import from user model, import the user class, right? I think this one too works fine. So guys, I'm coming, okay. I'm trying to write process my thoughts here. See on line 17, what the save method is just to what is to um get the dictionary we got from what the instance we created. And now, even as we have gotten the dictionary, it does not end there, right? Because we are going to be what? We are going to be serializing it, right? So we want to say that that dictionary, right? Everything we got, it should be the key of what of our serialized objects. So I think when I'm able to put this thing into code, I can be able to explain. So what is the method? Items, right? That is for key object in what in self object, the items, right? Now we can say that for this, okay. Now we can say our serialized what? Our serialized object, right, should be equal to object object right to date. That's the name of our method. That is the name of our method, right? Was it to date? Yes, to date. Right. We are using the method here to convert it into a dictionary, and then we convert the object, right, in the self object items into a dictionary, and then we store it in serialized objects. Okay. But then we store it this yes, we store it as the key. Thank you. So um we store it as the key, right? So we have the key already initialized. So let's see. So let me try and see what I'm doing. Dictionary, right? We are passing it to the object. So now we have a key, we have an object items. Wait, I'm still missing something. I'm still missing something. Well, okay, I'll come back to it. Let's see if we encounter any error, we will just come back to it. So after we put it inside as a key, we are just going to what? We are just going to dump it inside what? Inside our JSON file. Right? The serialized object we've got, we are just going to what? Dump it into our JSON file. So we can say that, okay, with open, what are we opening? We want to open this file path, right? So let's get it. Which is what? Which is the JSON file. So let's go and get it here. And then we can say self file path. Yes, I think that is it. Then open it in what? We open it in write mode, right? Since as we can name this as file, right? And now we want to dump it, right? JSON dump. Oh, I've not imported JSON, right? Now JSON dump, and now we're going to dump it, right? We are going to dump all these serialized objects into our file, right? How did we open now? How did we name our file? Just file, right? Yes. So let me see. We convert it, we take the dictionary, the object dictionary, and store it in what? In this. Oh, wow. Don't worry, guys. Don't worry, guys. I'll come back. Like, guy, hello, have you seen anything about it? Does anyone want to say anything? Come again. Mm-hmm. 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 I lost you there. Please come again. Oh, okay, 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 okay. I think I get the question asking. Your question basically is where did we get or where did I get the Oh, okay. So we. Mhm, mhm. Okay. I think I get you. And then that is yes, 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 yes. I yes. So the reason why you are confused with this is because see, the mistake I made is okay. We need to return um let's say whenever this file storage class is called, okay, first of all I defined an attribute called what file path. That is what that is a private attribute, right? But then what I didn't do here is what I didn't define this object items here. I just went on to what I didn't define this object here. I just went on to use it. I don't know if it makes sense to you. But under normal circumstance, I was supposed to what initialize the object items to what here. That way we can be able to use it here. And then it should be an empty dictionary that we are going to store all our objects by what? By their class name. I don't know if it's making sense. Let me just do it. Right. So let me do that here. Object. Sorry. Right. And then that one is going to be what? An empty dictionary where we are going to store it inside. Sorry. Okay. So I think this solves the confusion. See, this is an empty dictionary where we are going to store the objects by what? By the name, right? By the class name. And then that one is also what? A private class attribute. So we use this part to store what? The JSON file, and then we use this part to, what? To store what? Our objects. I think when I did that, I think that our method is now what? Is even now working on it now. So for key objects in, oh, okay. Please, do you understand what I've just done now? Okay, sure. Thank you very much. And then thank you very much for bringing my attention to it. I mean, there are a lot of things I was even supposed to do, but because of time, I was supposed to create all that returns the dictionary object, and also say the new that returns the objects in the OBJ with the object class name and everything. But because of time, I was just trying to rushing through. Thank you very much for bringing my attention to that. Let me see if that works now. Line 26, we are dumping. Hello, Diana. Yes. Okay, that is this is the object that is storing our class name. This is the object that is storing our class name. See, if I go on to do something like this, I don't know if someone can explain it well. Let me see. If I go on to do something like this, classes, right? And I want to iterate through. Now I'll still be able to iterate, but this is a constant. Please can someone explain to here why we use the empty object like that? Hello guys, can someone explain why we use the empty object like that? So, so not to cut you short, in the intranet, we are supposed to create a new before the save. Okay. Oh, well, that is true. That is true. Right. So, what I'm going to do is I mean, you are going to assist that, but I'm going to do what I remember here. So, we are going to create the new method, right? And then it's basically, we want to use it to set objects, right? That is, we want to use it to set this objects, right? This object being the empty dictionary, right? Um, with the object with key and then the class name ID, right? So it's going to be self object as argument. Wow, that is true. Wow, that is very true. And then we go on to say that, okay, if that is the case, then the key will be what? Will be, I think they gave us a format to use, right? The- This. Okay. So the class name goes here and then the object ID goes here. Wow, great. And then we have the format, which is what? Taking the object class name, sorry. Um, the object class, right? Name. Okay. And then the next one is what? The object's ID. All right. So the object's ID. All right. The name. Oh, yeah. Thank you very much. Okay. So now if you do this, no, when we are done, we are supposed to save it. Okay. Please continue. Wow. Great. Great. So I think this does the magic, right? So what you are doing is, no, I don't think so. Go read. Um, is is the all that we will be calling for, and then that is what retain the self objects that we have done here, and then the all whenever you call for it, it retain the dictionary objects that you have gotten now. But that is also a different method. But with this new, this is just as yes, please. Yes, please. Okay. So I don't know if you because of time I didn't want to go through everything because some of these things will not be some of these methods in my explanation that I was about to do for you guys. I didn't want to work on it because it would waste time and then yes, we don't have much time on our side. So let's just return objects. Maybe I don't know, maybe we'll just use it in one of this one, especially when we want to read all the files in our data. And I don't even think I'll get time to go through with you guys how you are going to define the load. right? So I think that one too, you would have to you would have to get time and then find a method that works best for you. I mean the reload, right? That kind of deserializes it. So because of time, I think we have about, I mean it's even time, right? 2 hours is almost, it's even up, right? So but I think this one is enough to do the magic. I mean we are returning it, we are saving, then we are populating, we are returning all objects. I think this is okay now, right? I think this is okay to store it. And then we'll just go and read it from our JSON file without having to read it. So when we call for this save method, okay, it dumps the the data we have stored. So if you want to save the data, this after you are done creating the user's data, you obviously what? You obviously have to save it. So we now have to go through what? Go to our base model, right? Hey, our console, our console when it is created. But I think we will call for it. But let's try. See, let's go to our console. Okay, we wrote some codes in our console. Let me just go and get that one so that we don't have to write a different codes. And then let's make some changes to the console we wrote. CD um, console. Where is the console? Cut. Let me see if it's this one or the other one. Oh, you can't see the screen. Okay. So the reason why that one is there was when we are dealing with, I mean, the reload. But even with that one, I later even changed it. When we are dealing with the reload, okay, and then let's say um we want to deserialize. What I wanted us to first do is, okay, instead of using the, how do I say it? Um the objects, instead of using objects, that's the class thing. Um I was trying to illustrate how, okay. Yes, sorry about that. I was going through the console, but I wanted to answer the person's question. So see, when we call for this um class file storage, okay, whenever you call for this class called file storage, okay, that means, let's say for instance, you when I'm illustrating it, you see when we call for it, you see how we are going to use our classes here, right? So it's just for it to be able to, for our class file storage here, for it to be able to have access to what our classes here. For now, just understand that we want our file storage here to have access to what the classes that we have created so far. Because if you don't do this here, and then whenever we are calling for what this our file storage class, we cannot have access to what this classes. So when I'm illustrating it, I think I'll touch on that one too. So what was I about to do? Right, I was about to get the codes from the console app we wrote yesterday, right? I was about to get the codes for it. Okay, right. So I think this is it. This is the users management. So I think that is it. So let me just go on and then let me just grab it. Console. Okay, now come here. Let me clear the screen. Yes, it needs to be at where the models are, right? Yes, it needs to be here. So let's create a file here and then let's call it console.py. Okay, great. So we are basically going to use our air our user management console, but we are going to change a lot of things from it, right? Things like the method we wrote here for for loading, and then for saving the data, to file. We will not be needing it in the console since we've done that in what, um in a different model, right? Sorry about that. Let me do this. Okay, and then let me remove this one too from here because we later changed that one to two. We changed that one to for here. We called it here self load from here. We will not even be using the read, right? I'm trying to get the codes we need it. The prompt is supposed to be HBNB BNB. We have our init, we have our self users create, right? So we need to create this what? We need to change this create method here to work with what? We need to change this create method here so that whenever the user comes and then they enter something like create user, right? What we want to do is that we want to take this user, right? And then this user is what? It's a class, right? That does its own magic. We want to be able to take this user and then integrate in it however we want to what we want it to be. So if you run the console right now, and then let me get the create back, right? And then you run this console here. Oh, line what? Line 2. Okay, sorry about that. Let me run it again. If length of unexpected indent. It is our temp file joking with us again, guys. Definitely. I've removed it. Oh, all right. So no search file directory. Let me run it. Okay, yes. So I don't know why the temp file goes on to do that, but basically, so when we do something like this, when we create user, we are supposed to get this what? We are supposed to get this argument, right, as a class, because user is a class, right? And then when we do that, we are supposed to now call for the class, and then the class is going to do what? It's going to inherit from what? The base model here, and after it inherits from the base model here, it gets its attribute, is able to return the string representation and then the dictionary representation, and then you will work after that to do with how we integrate what the JSON file, the JSON into it, right? The storing into it. So let's get our create function now. But this one doesn't work, right? This one doesn't work because we did this one for yesterday and we just did some basic allo. So hopefully when I'm explaining this, okay, the one who asked why we are declaring our classes here, or why I created a dictionary of our classes here, you understand why we needed to do that. I think that one was for the what? As I explained earlier, it was for the optimization, right? So let's go on. See, we first, I hope you guys still remember that what ask is what? This is us taking what? The user input as what? As line. So let's cause changes to the C. We want to split our line. Why do you want to split our line? Because the user will be using our command like this, right? And when we split it, we want it to work in such a way that whatever that comes with it, like let's say whenever the user enters create user, right? You should be able to get the first argument, right? This is what the first argument, and this is just the command. We will ignore this, right? So we ignore this, and then we will focus on this, right? We will get this, and then this one is what we are going to what use. So let's get into it. Let me just code, and then you understand what I'm trying to say. So see, we are splitting our input, the easiest input, right? We are splitting the easiest input, and at this moment, the easiest input is what? Is line, right? So when we do this, then we pass the method to what? To line. Okay, so we will be splitting it. I think with mine, I just split it with a trailing white space. Yeah, for now that works. And now we store it in a variable called what? Called ax, and then that works. Why is mine? Oh, true. So we store it in a variable called what? Ax. So we now have the either input what? Splitted. And now we want to put in a condition that okay, in case the either does this, right? Just create. We don't want it to work. It should at least tell the user that what the user did not add a class to it. So if the user goes on to do create like this, and that is how ALS wanted us to do. We should just prompt the user that what they need to add what they need to add the ax to it, right? So we can say if not ax, that is if ax was not what presented to us, or if the user did not give us ax, then we want to what print. I think they gave us a format, but it was basically something like class missing, right? So after you print class missing, this is when you want to say that what it did not pass anything to it, they just return, right? And then in case that the class was given, right? The class was given. You just want to say that okay. Now if the class was given, okay, the class that I received, which is what, which is user, store it in this variable called what class name, okay. And then how do we get that? If the user does this, this is what this is argument what argument 0, right? That is it, right? Of index 0, right? Because that is what was passed to it, and then this is just the command, right? So we have that, and then we are storing the user in what? In a variable called class name. Now see what we are about to do. After we get that, okay, what we want to do is that okay, we want to now get the name that we have what we have created, right? What I'm trying to say is we have now what gotten the user. Now how does the program be able to what? How does the program be able to what? Tell that this user that you have gotten is what? Is a class. How do you let it understand that the user what the user has passed to it is what? Is a class, right? That is why we need to first of all, let me use that to explain the reason why I did the class in the other one. See, we import our classes here, okay? We import our classes here, and then we store it in a what? In a different dictionary, right? And then that is what I was saying that it is used for optimization, right? We could have done this, right? And then let's say from base model, or where are we? Are we from, yes, from models, okay? From models, right? There is a model called base model. Import. We want to get access to the class, so let's import the whole base model. I think this does the magic, right? And after I import the base model, now we can say that okay, now even as you've imported the model, we want to use the classes in the model. And then so every class that will be will inherit the base model, right? Every class that will inherit the base model, we want what? We want to have access to it. That is why we can go on to create a dictionary. Let's call it classes with capital letter. And then we want to recreate it again, okay? We want to recreate it again as a dictionary, and then we can first of all, let me just get it. Well, we have two classes, the base model class, and then the next one is what? The next one we have what? We have the user class, which is what? Which is also there, right? Is it users or user? I think it's user. Oh, okay, because we have not imported it. So let's import it from models, base model, right? Now let's import user, the user class. Okay, I think this is also small letter. All right, so hopefully that solves the issue, right? So let's see. Now we are going to store the class now, right? We are going to give it as into a different what variable, but then with the same name. That way we can be able to use it in our program. If you don't do that, you can use it, but you would have to import every class you would want to use individually, and then that becomes what? That becomes a problem, right? So this does the magic. Hopefully, let's see. All right. So now let's go back to creating our create and into creating our create command. So see, we have the arg0, right? So all we have to do is to just start a program that what this asks this user receive here is basically the same thing, right? So just kind of instantiate it. I don't know if it's making sense, right? This command you received there as arg0 is basically the same thing as this class, right? So just instantiate it. That means what? You have to create a new class, I mean with the user, right? Just call for what? Just call for the user method. So this is how we are going to write the code. Is that a question? Was that a question? Okay. So see what we are going to do. We are going to do two things. After we get it, we want to save it. We have already written the method for saving. If you remember, we have already written the method for saving. So first of all, we will get it, and then secondly, what? We will save it. So now I want to say, now that this one, right? What is it equal to? Uh, it's equal to self classes, and then I think, wait, did I do the base model class name? Okay, so self classes, guys, if I make a mistake then bring my attention to it. Self classes, right? What is self classes? This is self classes, and our self classes has what? Has a key, and then did we create a variable called class name here? Two, right? Now we say user, right? Now when we get the user, now we say equal to, right? Guys, I'm missing something. Object. Yes, 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 yes. After creating the action to class name, send object to class name. We got object save. No, this will not work. This is rather class name that I got here, right? So we are storing the user's what user as what as a key. I mean, would this work? And then after we do that, okay. Thank you very much. So when we, oh, okay, all right, sure. My local console. I feel like I'm missing something because I'm still not getting I'm still getting the white. I mean, it should change color, right? That's what I'm trying to figure out why I'm missing. We now store this variable inside this, and then we say self class. Now I'm using VS Code to debug it, and then this calls variable class thing, right? Great. Let's do something. Come in. We store it in what? In our classes as what? As a class name. And now that will automatically call for this. Right. So let's do something. Let's just print, right? Let's print the ID and let's use to confirm if it is what if it is working fine. Right. So we'll print what the object ID. I mean that is what ALS even wanted you to do, right? Oh, this is it? Yes, solve dot class name. Okay, is I actually want to say that okay, the self dot class name equal to should be equal to wait, let me take solve dot class name. This is the classes, right? We have our name here, the classes. self dot class name. No, I think, all right. So we'll print the class name, right? ID. I think that one works fine. The class name ID. I was just trying to figure out a way we could have just saved this one we've done here with what? With our storage. We could have just saved it with our storage class. The save here. And then we pass the object here. Let me see. Oh, okay. So the pair is this. This is the pair of it. This is the pair of it. Right? See, pay attention. This is a key, right? Right? And in this key, okay, we said that these classes we've created here, right? We created, remember, that's why I was saying that we need to do this, right? So this key, right? This key that we have here, we are trying to say whatever class the user passes. If the user passed user, or if the user passed city, right? Or anything, right? It should just kind of say that what that user's input we got as argument 0 is now what? The key, right? It's not the key. We already have the key value pair here. This is our key, and this is what? This is our value. So this key that we've assigned here, it will just go into it will just come on line 11, and then to come and check the keys, right? And then it knows that what? It has to replace whatever class name the user gives to us with the actual what? Class we imported. It's just a mechanism we are using. See, let me take time to explain this thing to you. We have created a dictionary, okay? And a dictionary is a key pair value. Now, when we do this, okay, this is a string, right, that we have gotten. And then we are trying to set out, okay, in this class, okay, we are going to receive this string, right, from the user. When we receive that string, assign it to what? To the class, to its corresponding class. So let's say if the user comes in there, the user gives us something like city, right? And then we had city in the dictionary. It would have been something like this. It would have been, it's just us trying to stay optimized, right? Optimize our code. It would have been something like this. And then it will just match the user's input with the corresponding what? The corresponding class. Basically, city, right? So that is the idea. I don't know if you are trying you understand what I'm trying to say. When we take the user's input, right? Okay, right. Thank you very much. So if this is what? If this is user then, right? If this is user then store it as what? As the key of what? The class you have defined here. So it comes in and it compares it. So if it got user as what? As the input, it will compare the user, it will take what? It will compare it to what? Its value, which is what? User. And then it just goes on to what? To use the user class, instantiate it. That is why I was trying to find a way that we could have what? Just also saved the instance. But I don't know, let me just kind of write it and then we move on along with it. Let's see. So what I'm trying to do is that, okay, in order for us to test if it will work, we are now printing what? The class name we have gotten, the ID. So if it is user that we have gotten, we are printing the ID for me to confirm that what? At least it is working for now, and then we will go on to what? To implement that. I mean, as I was saying, this was very hectic. All right, we're having problem with base model again. From models, base model, import base model. From models, user import. I don't know why you're having issue with our base model. Model not found. Base model not found. Let me see. From models. Did we create? Okay, we created it. Wait, let me go and confirm it, because we need to find out what is giving us our model. We are not able to import our model. From models, import base model. From the package models, from the package there is a model called base model, right? Import this class base model. Why are we getting model error? Okay, let me see. I'll run it from here and then I'll try to use it to debug it. Maybe we'll use it to debug it, okay? Okay. Like I'm doing something wrong in line 6 model. Line 6. Guys, let's try debug this thing. We've imported our base model, but it's saying from base model. Oh, okay, okay, okay. Well, this is where the error is from. Because user.py line 3. Okay, and then it says from base model, import base model, no model, name base model. Is user not in base model? Let's provide the absolute pattern. See. Sorry about that. Models. Okay, it's not easy, bro. Let's see. Okay, that solved the issue. So this was the one causing the bug here. So that solves it. Let's come and test if we are having error with our create function, then we just solve that one too. Okay. Wow. So let's trace our errors. The string object has no attribute called .id. Wow. And I'm trying to print the ID, but it has no attribute called ID. So it means our implementation, there is obviously something wrong with our implementation. Let me see. Let me see. We print the class name, which is what they use. So if you print user.id here, will it give us the same problem? Create user. Do you know something? User has no attribute ID. Before we do that, let's solve an import error, right? That way, if the class, instead of the program just closing, it just kind of gives us what? Gives us this one. So let's use try except to solve the error in case there is one, right? So let's do this. Okay. So come again. Class name underscore. Yes, we tried that one before. It did not work out. Import error. But I'm coming in a moment. I want to put in an error check in place. That way we would have to know where our problem is from. Print try except import error, okay? And then want to print class name does not exist, right? Just as we've done here, we've done in the other one. Class name does not exist. Okay. Oh, okay, wow. That's great. Okay. So I should try this except this as E, right? I mean, we don't really know. Okay. Then we know the error it is. Wow, that's great. Exception. as A, and then we print A, right? Now let's comment this out and let's catch our error and let's see what is causing it. Right, now let's clear the screen and let's create user, right? Type object, user has no attribute ID. Okay, so it means you're obviously doing something wrong. Let's see. Or is it with my logic? Is it my logic here that but that's what I used in my Airbnb console. I was not having any error with that. Wait, what is this? This is a class. So what is wrong with it? We are storing it. We are storing it as the key. And then we come here and we say class name is equal to. Okay, let's print class name and let's see what is in class name. Let's print class name. Maybe we are not getting what we wanted to get. So let's print class name and let's see what is in class name, right? I mean, I don't know if you guys get me. Great. So we can do that to see what we have in class name. Oh, we are getting the class. So, or maybe they are, I don't know. We've gotten the class, fine. I mean, you guys should bring suggestions. How are we going to? We are getting class name, print. Yes, but it's not printing the ID, meaning that this logic here is not working. Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm, I'm trying to. Mm-hmm. 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 Yes. 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 I get your question. We are trying to update the user's input, right? With our dictionary so that whenever the user, I don't know, yes, basically. So when we get the user's input as basically basically that is what we want to do. Okay, okay. Come in. Yes. Yeah, yeah, I get you. I'm coming. I want to try something. I'll okay, so I'll pass the object in. I'll pass the object here, right? And then I'll try and come and get the I'm coming, okay. I want to change the logic and see something, right? And then we have a problem with object because then let's import from models. I'll explain what I'm trying to do. storage. Okay, if I had access to the intranet, then I would go through it again. Oh, why? What's wrong? For models, import storage. Right. Now we go on to say that okay, this object that we have, and we want to save it. Okay, we want to save it, not save to file. We want to create and then save it. Right. Okay. Now I still having a problem with our object. Like I'm missing something like print ID and import error. Okay. So let's assign. Oh, okay. Sorry about that, guys. I'm trying to find out another method that will work. Okay, okay. Then we pass this object, right? Just as our brother said, and now we say that this object we have gotten, we now pass it into, now pass this as object and then we print the ID. And now let's get rid of this class name here. So we get the class, we get the class name and sub classes. So it goes on to update here, and now we store it as what? Object. And then we pass it here as what? Object ID. Because the first time we're passing it, we're only passing it as Q, and then we do not pass. Okay, yes, so we're only what? Trying to print the ID of the string, not the key itself. Let's see. Oh, wow, still having the same issue. Object is equal to class name. Try object is equal to. Okay, we go on at 0. Right, see, we have the class name, we pass it as a key. What we are saying is that, okay, see, whenever this, okay, what he's saying, then we get it as object. Now, object, I don't want us to, let me try something. I'll try all the possible scenarios there can be. Print object. Okay, let's see what is in object 2. Now we print for the object ID. Create user. Oh, wow. Okay. So what was the issue? Let me. Oh, okay. Let me comment this out. Let me comment. Yeah, we were supposed to save it, but yes, we were supposed to save it. We are supposed to save it into our JSON file. But I wanted us to make sure that our create method is working before we move on to that, and then. All right. So I think it's working now. So we first when on the intranet, when you print the ID, when you print the object, right, ID, you are supposed to get the ID so that whenever you create another user like this, okay, you also get a different ID for the user for you to know that what you are actually creating different users. But I was I was contemplating with line 30. See, the issue was that okay, or the issue is that first of all, what was happening was okay, when you print the object, right? When you print the object, create user, okay, it comes in a form of a dictionary already. I don't know if you guys have seen, right? It comes in a form of a dictionary. So what I was trying to do first was I was trying to now print the 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 dictionary as it is, right? But let me see. Wait. Wait, how did I even solve this error? Did I remove the file through? Wait, guys, how did I solve the error? Oh, okay. Okay, please go on. I'm trying to figure something out. Oh, okay. So is that, let me see. Let me see. Create user. Oh, okay. Okay. Models, user. Type users, no attribute ID. Yes, yes. And I'm here figuring it out. Like, okay, okay. Yes, yes. And I'm trying to, I'm trying to assimilate why though, because I don't even know why it is working now. And I want to know why it is working. But, but then it is not a method. Yes. God. Wow. 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 Oh, okay. Okay. Yes, so come again. Say it. He just that something he said triggered my attention to the fact that we are dealing with classes. But he can come again. Come again. Wow. Mm-hmm. 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 Global variable. Yeah. Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah, I was not inheriting it. You see, on line 6, when you're inheriting from a class, this is how you inherit it. So my mind was confused, and then I was so focused on what? On the key, on trying to get a key to work. So I just forgot that it is not just a key, it is a class. And then if you want to inherit from a class, you bring the what? You bring the parenthesis. So when we were solving it, when we were trying to assign it, okay, we just assigned it like that without calling for what? For the class. So if you since we do when we do something like then it automatically becomes something like this. Okay. So the person has to mute them. So it automatically becomes something like this, okay? It automatically becomes something like this. But what we were doing was that, or what I was doing was that I was doing this because I wanted to get this to work. Something like that, right? But I've forgotten that what we are dealing with classes, so it needs to be something like this. Okay. So that is where all the confusion was from. It was from the what? It was from the parenthesis, right? So let me see. Right. As you can see, when I had coded it, it gave me what? It gave me the ID of what? Of the user. But when I clear it and then I remove the parenthesis, it does not actually what? Inherit it, because this is not how you inherit from what? From a class. And then when you create it, it does not what? It does not recognize it as what? As a class. That is why it says type object. It means the object user has no attribute what? ID. So thank you guys. Well, that was that was really one hectic night. And then the funny thing is, this was not even the error I was solving. This wasn't the bug I was debugging in the before we started the meeting. This wasn't the bug I was debugging. It was actually way bigger than this. So I don't even know why I had encountered this error. So let's let's get it. Um, what someone asked, right? So after getting this, oh, true. Where is it? After getting it, we need to store it. Okay, we need to save it in a JSON format, right? And then the the only way we can do that is, okay, after we get it, there are two ways we can save it in what? In our JSON format. We don't need to print the object again. I mean, we know what is an object, so we just have to save the object. So we can either say that, okay, now object, okay, the object we're having, we pass the save method we wrote to it. Do you guys remember we wrote a certain save method? Let me do this so I don't forget. Do you guys remember we wrote a save method in our JSON model that is responsible for solving oh, where is it? Guys, the file storage. Wow. Yes, the file storage. You wrote a set save here that serializes our objects. So in order for us to get our object saved in a JSON format, we just have to what? Import this model, and then what? And then call for what? Import this model class, right? And call for that method. That is why we had to what? Have the class here too. Someone was asking why we have the class defined, so that it can also recognize it as what? As a class, and then kind of assign it the same way we did what? In the previous one. So when we go to our console, right? No, this is the one in the notes. When you go to our console, we now pass the save as what? As a method. But this does not work because we have not what? We have not imported. Oh, uh no, I'm coming. Which base model on there? Which one are you talking about? Our base model. Yeah, right. Where is our base model? We wrote a file. Oh, which one are you talking about? I think we are supposed to write. Hello, I didn't get you. JSON file. Yeah. So this method we wrote in file storage. That's what we want to import to save our data now, right? I mean, we there are a lot of things that goes into it that we've not done, but I just want you to understand what we are trying to do, and I'm very happy that I've been using this as an opportunity to kind of just um, revise everything again. So see, let's import our method, right? So where is our method? Is in file storage. No, it's in models. Wait, where is it? It's in models. Okay, file storage is in what? Is in models, and it's in engine. Guys, how do you think we'll be able to import it? You can say from models import storage. That means whenever this wow, that means whenever this is called, we want it to do something. Okay, right? We have to do something in order for us to be able to import. See, when we do this for models, okay, then maybe write something like engine, right? Import storage, import. What is the name of the class? File storage. Import file storage, right? And then we pass this save to it. So we can say that file storage, right? Its method called was save. I don't think that is going to work out. File storage. Is file storage having a method called save? So you should be able to use it, right? I think we did something during our time. I think there is something I'm not doing right. I think that has to do with what? That has to do with. Oh, okay. Uh-huh. Mm, okay. 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 So I have two ways we can store it now. What you said, I've tried to understand it. Okay, we can use that to save it, and then I'm also thinking of a way because one, as you are saying, we need to write a method for that. Okay, as you are saying, we need to write a method that is going to help us what save this, and then we are going to use that word to call for our story. So let's just go by the requirements, right? You are right. See, we can write a method here, and then we call it save. Okay, and that method is what is going to call for our storage um, class method that we wrote there, right? And then it's going to help us what update the what the attribute, right? So see, we are going to go with what you are saying, but let's be fast about it, right? So you are supposed to create a method called what? Save. And what this method does is update the updated attribute and then you save the instance, which I didn't even write it for. Sorry, I didn't even write any code for, right? So we are just going to save it as just the create, right? So or we can also do something, but you let me just do this and then let's get to it, right? So in our save, we will call for, let's import storage here. Import models. Let me import models. Now let me come here and I save that. Okay, in the save method, we want the storage, right? We want model storage, right? Storage in models, right? And I want to call for the method, save method, right? So this should do the magic. And then when we do this, for the for the file storage, right? Yeah, for the engine, we need to make changes for it to work with the the storage here. You're right. That way we can easily be able to import it. That is the one I was thinking that maybe we can go with. And not for the engine. Okay. Wow. Okay. So basically what we want to do is that we want to say that whenever we are importing what engine, it should file engine, it should storage, we should treat it as what? As file storage or something like that. All right. So let me see if I can do that. Please, is that what is in the requirement? Okay, so that's what I'm doing now. Then let's see that. Import file storage, right? It was a class called file storage. This is it, right? And then we say that storage is what? Come again. So see, do you know something? In our file storage, um, okay, okay, that works. That works. Yeah, I get what you're trying to say. So when we do this, then we'll basically be able to use it in our where is it? Our console, right? Let's see. It's not working though. Import import models. Hello, are you still here? Hello? I mean, is the guy still here? All right. I think I've done that. So we can now call for it, right? Okay, so let's try calling for it in our console and then let's see if it solves the issue. It's still giving me how do I say? where is it? Create object save, right? So let's try and get this. Let's see, let's import from models, right? Import file storage, right? In our init file, how did we declare it? How did we define it? Init.py storage. So whenever this is called, storage is also called, and storage is, so we can just do this. I think this should work for models. Let's just, so we are supposed to import the storage. Yes, right. And then we go here, and then we say that object, okay, is saved. Okay, so I think that does the magic. Now let me see. But it's not even using the save for me. It's using the save from the import model. Let's see. Let's try it and let's see. Wow. Today has been okay. Okay. File storage.py from base model, import base model. No model named base model in what? In the file called file storage.py. Line 4. No, this is not the file. Let me read it. From models base import file init for Python line 2. That was the one we just did. Yeah, that was the one we just did. This one is saying there is no what? There is no model named base model from the, there is no imported any base model. So what do you think could be the issue? Are we doing something wrong? Hello? Alright, sure. So let's see. Let me try and use my means for it, and let's see if it works around it. So we have storage.file here. So now let's try and get rid of this. So let me go to the my init file and let me do this. Right. Let me comment it out. When you get back, we will use that. But for now, let me try and see the method I was trying to talk about. So let me find the error again. So, oh, so cannot import storage from, yes, because I changed it in console.py. All right. Um, import file storage. Sorry. And I say that, okay, the file storage is having a method called save here. So let me see. Don't give me an error, please. Okay. From models, import files. I cannot import name. All right. Guys, are you still here? Wow. Almost 4 hours. We are trying to find a way to save our objects now. Here. Okay. What it was a console.py. Okay. So then that will be just storage now, right? You don't need to import it. Okay, right. And now we will be able to use our save here like that. Is this cool? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Thank you very much. Wow. 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 So now let's see from base model import no model base model file. From base model is in our file storage. We have a problem with our file storage now. I think okay. I think the problem now is okay. Hello, Diana. Come again. I can't get you. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh no, Diana, this is a different file. Don't pay attention to that. Let me remove let me remove that. Remove base model. Okay. So yeah, so that one is a different file. This is our base model itself, right? So let me try and find the error I was looking for. Let me see. Okay, it said from line 2. Let's start with our console first, right? On our console in line 5. Wait, where is even our console line 5? From base model, import base model. So now it has what? Let's say it is now dealing with what imports base model. It goes on to say that okay, from the base, from the models, we have an init.py there in line 2. So that one is let's trace that to that one. And it says what online in line 2, right? From base model, from models, from base model import, then it now goes to what our file storage. Where is it? Right, and then it says in the file storage in line 4. Wow, in line 4. Okay, okay. Now let me try and fix that. Let me try and use it as the absolute part for models and base import base model. And let me see. Oh, we have another error. At least progress, right? Yay. So we have file storage from import user. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Absolute path for the user. And that also kind of solves the issue. Let me see. Clear. Wow. Wow. So let's go back to our console. I mean, this was what we just did was just reading errors and then we're trying to work with the errors. Let me see if you get an error, then we go through it again. It's very all right. So it creates and then let's try and see what did we say the name of the file will be? File.json. Wow. It actually says, but we have an error to solve. So let's see. It is storing an empty dictionary. I mean, that is not what we wanted. That is not what we wanted. Right. Let me see. Let's assume there is something here. Let's just assume there is something inside, right? And then let's try and see if it updates it. Yes, so it is actually storing an empty dictionary in a JSON file. Wow, today has been very interesting. Let's let's debug that one too. Okay, so I think that one will be from guys. Any thoughts? What do you think will be the reason why it is not actually storing